financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is you can get rid of credit card debt. Brian Small, good morning.
A pleasure to be here, Ken. My favorite topic, making debt go away.
Jeffrey Kirshner.
Ken, can we make Brian go away?
No, we cannot.
I've been trying for years. I could do it, but there would be too many people disappointed to see him go.
Yes.
Hey, listen, when people ask which one I am on the TV show when they're calling,
No, they know.
I remind them that I'm the good-looking bald one. So,
Joe Frizzard, how are you?
Good, thanks for having
Everything good at Smasco Law?
me. Really good.
Jeff from Plum Market always says, say hi to Brian.
hi, Jeff. How are you?
Okay, today's topic, how to get rid of, you can get rid of credit card debt. We're going to talk about debt resolution, but we're really going to focus on it because a lot of times we get lost talking about Chapter 7, Chapter 13. I want to talk about the way THAV GROSS has developed a method of getting rid of credit card debt. And we'll do it with a quick example case study. Ron and Abby, key facts. They're both 50. They got 3 kids. Ron's an insurance agent and a financial planner. Abby's a nurse. They make good money. Combined income, $190,000 a year. They live in a nice home in the suburbs. Here's their problem. Their current savings, they only got $5,000. They have a whopping $120,000 of credit card debt, which is costing them a minimum monthly payment now of $3,600 a month. 3% of the balance. You've seen that rise, haven't
Yeah, I
you, Brian?
have. It's been crazy because interest rates are so high that in order to continue to pay down the balance and not have it last 50 years to pay off your credit card, you're starting to see the credit card payment creep up by percentage.
So that $3,600 a month going to the credit card companies, okay? All right, debt resolution. These are our words. Debt resolution is the method that we use to get rid of credit card debt. You see on TV and you hear on the radio debt settlement companies. Different concept, developed by them. There's only one group that developed debt resolution. That's us. And we developed it in the financial crisis, 2009. I'll tell you how it came about. Before the financial crisis, we were always doing bankruptcy work, financial problems, and I had a conversation, I'd have conversation with Brian. I said, how many people came in this week for bankruptcy? And he'd say, whatever, 20, 30 people. And how many cases did we file? 15. There was always a gap. And I would say, well, why is the gap? Because they either didn't qualify for bankruptcy. They either made too much money or they had too much equity in their house, and we didn't have a solution for them. And he and I put our heads together and said, how can we solve the people who don't fit into the bankruptcy rules to get rid of their debt? And we came up with a concept of debt resolution. And how it works is basically, the premise is always the same. We want to get rid of the debt the fastest possible way at the least possible cost. If that means that you qualify for a Chapter 7, if Ron would qualify for a Chapter 7, and we can get him in and out of a Chapter 7 bankruptcy in 3 months and wipe out all of his debt, we're going to tell him to do that because that's the cheapest and the fastest. But if Ron makes $190,000 with Abby and they got $100,000 of equity in their home, Chapter 7 is not available. Nor is Chapter 13.
Well, Chapter
Most of
13
the time.
is going to be
For
an
that
available
situation.
choice, but it's the wrong choice.
Right.
Because Chapter 13 in that situation is going to basically require Ron and Abby to repay 100 cents on the dollar of all the debt that they owe. And why, if you're already going to do something dramatic to get yourself out of debt, why would you pay it in full if you could pay pennies on the dollar?
Because you want the cheapest and the least possible cost. If you're paying back 100%, that's not a good deal if there's another deal that can get you paying out 38, 39% of the debt.
But what is this black hole then with bankruptcy, two different types of bankruptcy where someone can't qualify for either? How does that happen where you don't qualify
Well,
for either?
I can explain it really easily. A Chapter 7, if you make too much money, you're not going to qualify for a Chapter 7. Okay, Chapter 7 is debt elimination bankruptcy. Chapter 13, if you don't make enough money, you may not qualify for Chapter 13 because Chapter 13 looks at the equity you have in assets and looks at the available income that you have. Income minus expenses. What do you have left over? Well, sometimes you have too much left over and you're going to repay everybody in full. Sometimes you don't have enough left over.
But if you don't have enough, you're probably going to be into a 7.
Well, true.
Yeah.
But the choices are, sometimes it just doesn't work and it's not the best solution. It's a solution. Okay, we keep it in the...
Say I qualify for a Chapter, this is what he was saying at the beginning. I qualify for a Chapter 7. I've got $120,000 of credit card debt, but in that Chapter 7, because I make so much money, I'm going to pay back the full $120,000 of credit card
Chapter
debt
13.
in Chapter 13 over 60 months. I will save the interest, right?
Yeah.
But that's not a good deal if there's a third solution that says, okay, no Chapter 7, but rather than a 13 paying $120,000 back over 60 months, how about debt resolution where we end up paying back $48,000 over 2 years? Now here's the key, and we'll get into it more, but you have to have resources for debt resolution to work. You have to have either monthly income, like the monthly payments that you're paying on the credit card debt. If you have that much income, and we use that to settle the debt.
We call that the power of the minimum monthly payment.
But if you don't, let's say you don't have that resource, but you have at least some savings that you could tap to settle the cards. But if you don't have any source to pay the settlements, then you got a problem. We'll keep on it right after the break.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
We were just spinning. We just didn't know what was going to happen next.
At Simasco Law, we deal with these issues every day, especially elder law. Pat went to work for Fran.
Patrick was there holding my hand, kept saying, we'll get through this, we'll get through this.
He got her husband Medicaid and in a nursing home. Simasco Law got the success they deserved.
Simasco Law is definitely family to me. I really appreciate knowing all of you.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress.
Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Okay, so we're back. All right, so that's the concept of debt resolution. And let me tell you what it's not. When I say it's not debt settlement, it's important to realize it. Number one, in debt resolution that we do, only lawyers represent you and work the case and deal with the settlements. Debt settlement companies employ clerks that are hired and trained with scripts to try and settle cases. There's an art to getting the best deal. And the way you get a best deal is by knowing how far to push based upon experience. And you also know how to push because it's important to us, like Brian always likes to say it, he likes to win. We like to know we got the best deal. It's not just debt resolution. If I'm negotiating a settlement in a case, what is the thing I think about most after I've resolved the case, regardless of whether my client's ecstatic or not?
Could you have done better?
Could I have done better?
Always.
I always want to go back and I always want to say to the other side, would you have gone this far? But they'll never tell you, okay? You can only ask that to a jury sometimes after a case is over. Other things, we don't charge clients to hold their money. Debt settlement companies do. They make you pay into a pot, they hold it in their account, and they charge you a fee to do it. We tell you to hold your money yourself. We don't need to do that. If you get sued, which if you're settling enough credit card debt, some of them, we want them to sue you. Because once, if we don't get the good offer negotiating with the collection agency, we pass. And then it goes to an attorney. And the attorney's a collection attorney, and he files a suit. We know every collection attorney in the Michigan market because we've been doing this for so many years. What's their goal? Their goal is to get money. Their goal isn't to have this big lawsuit and fight you forever. And we're friendly with them from the standpoint that we know how to talk to them to get the best deal that they can get approved.
It's not a war, it's a negotiation. And they know that next week they're going to have to deal with us again, and the following week again. And so we've worked it out so that they're going to give us good terms, and we're going to make sure that they get good terms. It's a mutual dissatisfaction, so to speak.
Those are the best settlements.
Yep,
Yes,
they are.
So that's another aspect. We charge 10% of the debt. That settlement companies charge you
they're charging 15 to
20%.
No, 25 now.
Yeah, which is crazy. Okay. Because
So think about that.
Once
If you
you're paying
settle-
25%, you don't have enough. Even if you settle the debt at 50% off, you're still paying. You're only getting a 25% discount.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it works out to be 75 to 80% of the debt is what you end up with a settlement of, instead of 50% of the debt.
Right. So, and then if you do get, I say, if you get sued, we represent you. We don't say to you, you got to hire a lawyer. It's included in the 10% fee, and that sometimes that's the smartest strategy. So it's it annoys me. He's going to laugh because lots of things in the world annoy me. But it annoys me when people think that we do debt settlement, because we don't. We develop debt resolution on our own better than it's a totally different concept. First of all, it's predicated on an assessment that we can get you out of debt in 18 to 24 months.
Yeah, sometimes we'll push it if you're carrying over $100,000 worth of debt up to 30 months, but it's really an 18-month program is the optimal time, 24 to 30 max. And when we look at it, we say, what would the result be if we compared it to something else? If I can get you a lower percentage in Chapter 13 bankruptcy, I'm going to head that direction with the recommendation. But most of the time, when you're carrying that type of debt, we can do better with debt resolution than you're going to end up in a bankruptcy situation.
So how does it work? Let's just kind of start dealing with the nuts and bolts. Okay. First thing that happens, and we're going to cover this really fast, you come in, and like I said before, we still want to get you out of debt the fastest way, least possible to cost. So Brian's going to analyze, are you a Chapter 7? If the answer is no, then he looks at a 13, and we're going to say, is a 13 better or worse than debt resolution? If the conclusion is because of the income you're making, you're better off with debt resolution, that's what we do. But we always do the analysis so that we're sure to get you the smartest deal. You go to a debt settlement company, they're not going to put you into bankruptcy because they're going to say, oh, bankruptcy is the worst thing in the world. It's not true. Bankruptcy, what's the worst thing in the world is spending more money and taking a longer time to get out of debt when there's a faster solution.
And likewise, if you go to a firm that only does bankruptcy, the only thing they're going to provide you with is a bankruptcy. As financial crisis management attorneys, we don't care which solution it is. We need to find you the best
Optimal
solution for you, which means that if it's debt resolution, it's debt resolution. If it's bankruptcy, it's bankruptcy.
All right, so
we can give you more solutions.
So Ron and Abby, make sure I got the right. You know how I mess up names. Ron and Abby, they're making $190,000. They're not a Chapter 7. They're not a chapter. They make too much money. They're going to have to pay back the whole $120,000 in a Chapter 13. So we're doing debt resolution. Now, Brian mentioned the power of the minimum monthly payment. They're paying $3,600 a month on the credit cards.
That's just the interest.
No, that's the minimum monthly payment,
right,
which is mostly interest. You're right. And when you look at your statement, it'll
Slightly
take
less.
29 years now, 35 years. I just saw one. I actually was shocked. It said 63 years to pay off at the minimum monthly payment. I was just like flabbergasted.
And that's
that
wait.
one.
And that's not using the card ever again.
No, that's just
making
paying
those
the
payments.
minimum monthly
That's
payment
never
each month.
using it.
Right. So you take $3,600 a month, okay? $3,600 a month times 18 months gives you a fund of $64,800. $3,600 a month times 24 months gives you a fund of $86,400. You're paying, if you don't do debt resolution, take a break, we'll come back and tell you what happens if you don't do debt resolution.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. Oh, and I announced THAV GROSS has opened a new office downriver in the Horizon building on Eureka Road. So now we're in Flint, downriver, and also our home office in Bingham Farms. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. You can do it by Zoom conference, in the office, any way that works best for you. Just call 888-235-HELP or go to the website, thavgross.com, to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat or Kelsey, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Again, sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or just call 888-235-HELP. Also, if you go to the website, you'll see there's free reports. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Jeff Linden and myself. Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure. Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan. And The Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Simasko Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP.
I was married for 57 years before my husband died.
Simasko Law had established a trust for them before this happened.
There's so much to do in the beginning, but after about a month, you're kind of alone.
We deal with estate planning and trusts every day.
If you continue to have good support and know that your finances and your estate is in order, that's one thing that's so comforting. I would just highly recommend Simasko Law.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, we're back. So where we left off, this is a common situation. Person's making adequate money, they're able to make that $3,600 a month payment, and they become a robot, and they just make that payment every month. And they don't even think there's a solution of getting rid of it. Debt resolution says, we're going to take the same $3,600, but you're only going to end up spending it for 18 to 24 months, and then at that point in time, you're out of debt. You don't owe any credit cards. And now the $3,600 a month is going into your savings account. And $3,600 a month into savings over 10 and 20 years is a retirement. It's $1 million over 20 years, assuming you get a 5 to 7% return. It's the difference between having a successful future and throwing it out the door. The guy like Ron and Abby who's making $190,000 a year, if they make the mistake of saying, well, I managed to make the payment every month, I even make a little extra. Last month I paid $4,000, but then what did he do? He charged $4,000, so he still owes the same amount. He gets to be 65 years old and he owes $120,000 in credit card debt, and he's paid him $3,600 a month for 30 years.
You know, the funny thing that
he's wasted his retirement.
You're right. And the funny thing is that people get used to paying that payment, and they just accept it. And quite often the event that causes people to come in and see us is some life event. Somebody retired, somebody got sick, somebody lost their job. That's when
There's another life event. The credit card company, when you go to charge, declines you. And you call up the number, the 800 number, and you say, I have my statement. It says I have $11,000 of available credit. And they say to you, oh, Mr. Gross, you're one of our valued customers, but last week we reevaluated your account and we reduced your available credit down to $500. You didn't call me, you didn't tell me, oh, you'll be getting a letter in the mail. It probably will come in the next few days. Meanwhile, you were at the hotel paying your bill for $2,400 and it got declined. That is a life moment as well. That's a lot of the time. That's what's going to start happening. Because look at the current marketplace. Interest rates are like at 25% on good cards, and on bad cards they're over 30%.
Yep, it's crazy.
Minimum payments are skyrocketing, and people are using up the available credit. Once everybody's using up their available credit, the banks will start panicking and start cutting you off. And then when they start cutting you off, they'll say to you, continue making your minimum monthly payments, or else it will ruin your credit. But we're not going to give you any more credit. Well, that becomes easy for the person to come in the office and say, I've been suckered, I got to get rid of this debt. But even before that happens, if you're just shelling out $3,600 a month, I just want you to close your eyes and think of the $3,600 as cash, and every one of them has the word your retirement. And what you're doing is you are throwing it away for the betterment of the credit card companies and for your pain and suffering, because you will end up blowing. You will not have the 3-point retirement plan. You will not have a house that's paid for free and clear. You will not have zero debt, and you will have no cash in the bank. Oh, you'll get Social Security. You're going to live on $3,800 a month, of which out of the $3,800 they're going to take out Medicare. It ain't going to happen.
Or you can be out of debt in 18 months and be putting this money away and get yourself in a position where you have no debt and you have money in the retirement accounts.
It is a beautiful thing, and I can tell you, we've been doing it for 10 years now. More than 10 years.
14, 15.
And we've seen so many clients that are now at the retirement age that have the house free and clear. They have zero debt, no car payments, no payments at all, and they've got $500,000, $1 million in the bank, and they're great. And the answer is this: had they continued paying $4,000 a month for their credit card debt, where do you think they would be? And you need to ask yourself, where do you want to be when you're 68 years old and it's time to retire? Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.